Mega Steebler. Today we got to look at the new Lion. What's this? Tier 7 British battleship. I got Nelson. We got turret traverse and accuracy on there. If you don't have Nelson, I initially went with Cunningham for two reasons when I was going up the British battleship line. Number one, I was going to use him as an inspiration on most, if not all, the battleships. And when, you're early in your commander grind, duplicating your efforts, i.e., let's say we ground out Madden, the other British battleship commander, and Cunningham as an inspiration, well, that's double the promotion orders. That's roughly 300 promotion orders gets those guys to high levels. And not to mention the insignias and commendations. So I think Cunningham does a fine job. The downside with Cunningham, of course, is we don't have the bonus heals. Okay? If you get the Madden commander up to level 16, you get 2 extra heals. Same thing with this Nelson, the one that we got here. So I'm presuming that we had, it must be 2 heals that you start off with the line. I like the other British battleships, though. We got very good healing power on this thing. And like the other British battleships, survivability, a little bit suspect the higher the tiers. Okay, now we got 32 millimeter plated, decent battleship armor, but going against Yamatos, Grobers, things of that nature, you got to be very careful. So we're going to attempt to gain access to that island directly in front of us. You can see the destroyer that spawned on B. He's electing to go all the way over to C. Fair enough. If he doesn't want to play B, that's fine. Certain maps, going for the flank first, not a bad play. So I'm supportive of what he's doing here. Of course, we want to support the lone destroyer on the team, so it's nice for us that he's going to be near us, potentially. Then we can continue to affect the match in the greatest proportion. So, you're not always going to be able to make it to a forward island like this. And you can see on the map there, if we do actually achieve this position, we'll be basically controlling the middle. Now we're going to be blocked from the enemy side. That's why we're coming up by this island, because we don't want to get shot from everyone from every angle at all times. But that's, of course, going to limit the shots. But once again, C is our primary focus. That's the cap we spawned on, and that's where the destroyer is going. So all signs point to C being the main event, at least early on. We do sustain a shot there. We're getting spotted, presumably right where I was just pointing, like right there. Basically, I believe the destroyer's in the gap. We don't know that for a fact, though. He might be in the B lane or potentially into A, but we're not seeing any activity on the cap, so we don't know definitively. But we do need to be interpreting the spotting language. What's the deal with these guns? I think they're most likely short fuse guns. I don't really know how to research that anymore. But basically, that means you're less likely to get citadels on battleships, more likely to get citadels on cruisers. It's a common characteristic of many of the British battleships. But basically, if you want to understand it from a theoretical standpoint, we're going to get less overpens and more, shatters, or you're not going to get as many citadels, I guess would be more accurate. So, you can make a case for whether or not it's a great shell or not. I think in general they're pretty good. I try and shoot a lot of AP at these. A lot of guys will just shoot HE with the British battleships. I think that's a mistake. You want to use the HE when appropriate, but the AP still is quite effective. We do have a Minotaur over there, and this is going to be our first opportunity in a battleship actually to shoot at the Minotaurs. So we want to go ahead and do that. We noticed he was backing up, but of course he was going to try and gun forward and hit him with a couple shots there. One of them, in fact, goes into the Citadel, the third shot. So 18,000 damage on my new favorite ship in the game to shoot at, the Minotaur. And we're going to see, part of the reason I had picked this footage is because building on the video from yesterday where we did cover the Minotaur, the theme of that was you got to be very, very careful. And we're going to see a couple plays in this game where that comes into focus. We got the early shot on that Minotaur there, but at a later stage in the game, we'll make a critical play against another Minotaur. A little foreshadowing there. Finally, the destroyer does elect to get on C. He initially cozied up to it, dropped the anchor, watched nothing occur in front of him, but eventually he does go ahead and get on the cap, which is advisable. He was joined by 2 cruisers. One of them already did get sunk. It's the destroyer's responsibility. Lightly armored cruisers, I believe those were both Woostas. It's going to be difficult for them to cap if there's any battleship covering the cap. But you can see another common legendary tier play. All the ships on red are going to the southwest. Why is that? How many caps are in the southwest? I don't see any on my map. I got A, B, and C visible, and they're all in the middle of the map. But basically, everyone Everyone in the game is just on the west side of the map. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe we can actually grab B here. I'm going to pull forward. We're going to see who's over here. We do have a Grosser Kerfers to some of you. But he's kind of stopped. He's got his guns kind of trained over here. So I'm like, okay. Tried to slam on the brakes. We did fire with the front guns. But we do drop spot here. We actually pulled forward just enough. And he continued to drift forward as well. So until this plane respawns us here, we were at least briefly protected. So now I'm like, okay, well, we're committed to this play at this point in time. We got to get as close to that island that's directly in front of us as possible. Once again, we don't know where the destroyer is, but we did get inklings of it reading the game situation earlier. I can't remember if he torped the cruiser or whatever, but I had a pretty strong idea that he was to the left of us, and once again, we do get spotted here. Grosser pulls forward. We continue to be spotted, so, all signs point to destroyer either to the south of us or to the east of us. And there's some torps coming in here, so we probably should have been actually reacting to the potential of those torps coming in a little bit sooner. And we get whacked for about 15k there, which is a juicy shot. We do dodge the second salvo. Luckily, I'm going to ask the Fletcher for a little bit of help, as that's his primary role, is to fight other destroyers. Luckily, the final salvo is widespreads, and we get away unscathed, relatively. And we do pop the heal. We can't really heal a lot of torpedo damage. There's the Udachi. Where's the shots from the Fletcher? Of course, high-tier destroyers would have, by now, have learned how important it is to fight other destroyers. But no shots forthcoming there. And Minotaur. Okay, can we get a shot at him? No, probably not. What are we going to do here, though? We got to get safe, because we got a lot of targets to the west here, southwest, wherever they are. And, we don't want to get reset when we're on the base here. You can see we're down on ships. We're down 3 ships to 1. In fact, we're down quite big in the score here. But we did want to get the base. The mines comes around, makes a strong play. A gamble. It cost him a lot of HP, playmaking currencies, refer to it. But he did reset us before we could get here, which is potentially game-changing, because at this point in time, even though they have all their ships concentrated on the western end of the map, Red is unable to capture the base. One of their ships sailed through it. It's very hard to call these games, because it's so mind-boggling how bad the play is at Legendary tier right now. But nevertheless, we continue. Shot into the hull of the mines. 5 skips, 1 pen. That surprised me. I figured that these guns could overmatch that armor. Now we got a bit of a problem, though. We got multiple torpedo strikes coming in. We do slam the brakes, turn to the left as hard as we can. We're going to take at least 1, probably 2, it looks like. Pop the damage count right as it hits. Put out the flood. You can see we're in a bit of a pickle here, but we are angled away from him, and his AP shots aren't going to be that effective. Do have support here from the ship to the left of our screen, and we're going to gradually get all 3 of these turrets into position and continue to try and cherry pick that citadel until we can get the mines off the board. Mines, high damage output type ship, but luckily we're able to get him off the board. Now, we basically have another full minute to capture this base, which is going to be, once again, important, because we continue to be down in ships. But the longer Red ignores the scoring in this game, aka the bases, and they just continue to slug it out with angled battleships that are pointed directly at them, then advantage our team. So we can weather storms where we're going to be down multiple ships. Okay, so it's of prime importance, even though I'm kind of itching to get into a position where we could shoot the Vlad in the side, or potentially ambush the Grosser, or even those Minotaurs. I think we still got a pair of the Minotaurs over there that are undoubtedly raining down all sorts of terror on our team. We want those shots, but we need the base. Okay, you always should be getting the base whenever possible, first and foremost. If you got to sit there for a minute unproductive, you're not being unproductive. You're helping your team win the game. You're increasing your team's odds of winning the game dramatically. Grosser's backing up here. We're not quite sure what the situation is. We do slam on the brakes, and now his turrets are right over here. That's a problem. We were hoping that he's going to be tied down with the guys to the north / northwest of him, but nope, he's focused on over here. And that's not a shot, or that's not a ship that we want taking a lot of shots at us. He does spot us. We spot him. We trade shots. Now I got a decent shot, 11.9, 12,000, whatever it is, but look at the health of the line at this point in time. We're on the ropes, we're dazed, and the coach in the corner is calling for the fight to be stopped, but we're not quite ready to go down. We're just going to back up here, try and keep safe, try and, you know, I think it's a Cleveland or whatever this cruiser's next to us. He's trying to get shots in there. The Woosta. He's just a little too close, unfortunately. If he was a little bit further, he could rain the shots on, but, you know, c'est la vie or whatever. It is what it is, as we say around these parts. So anyway, now how we're going to do this, we're continuing to be down a ship, but the score is increasing. Now, those of you that watch the channel or those of you that are, you know, skilled at understanding how to read the game and can, you know, say to yourself, how do we win at any given moment? Well, you might be saying to yourself, all you got to do is really just sit back and defend B, right? And that's the standard play. But what's going on in A? We got a Yamato over there completely surrounded. We got a Bismarck that I don't see him having a shot. Maybe he's got a shot that's gross right now, but he's not able to project a lot of power from his position. I got a Woosta who can't shoot anything, and I can't safely shoot anything either. So if they kill the Yamato, check. They just did. Now if they kill the Bismarck while moving into B, I mean, they should probably think about getting A at some point in time. That would definitely help them out quite a bit. But theoretically, let's say all four of those ships kind of storm through here simultaneously. Worcester doesn't have torps. Lion doesn't have torps. Bismarck doesn't have torps. These guys can basically outmuscle us if they choose to do so. Do get a shot off there with just the front turrets. Drop spot, protecting ourselves from the secondary. Oh, Minotaur coming in hot here. Looks like one of the Minotaurs previously got dev struck. I guess we missed that calling the replay here. But one of the pairs is gone. We're going to back up here. Playing the Minotaur yesterday, I can tell you 10,000 health against that thing if it decides to go toe-to-toe with us. He can kill us in about 10 seconds pretty comfortably. It's going to come down to my time to target, you know. Like, and especially there, if you realize that we were trying to blind fire him there. But if he pulls out there, spots us briefly, he can pepper us and kill us quite quickly. Luckily for us, he doesn't. And I am trying to slow play this because the time is running low on the clock. We'd like to win on score here. Unlikely to win a fight against a full health Yamato with a Bismarck that I have no idea what his situation is, but we can't take more than one shot. And of course, the Woosta is getting quite low at this point in time too. So we're at a disadvantage, no doubt about it. Here's the curious part about this play, though, is the Grosser Kerr first. There he is. He's going around north. He's pushing into the base. Of course, he's not going towards B. That would make too much sense. Likewise, the enemy Yamato way on the outside there. So what we need to realize in this situation is this Minotaur is completely pinned, right? As long as he doesn't realize that he can quickly kill me and free himself from the pin, that's another matter. But if he leaves his cover, well, we can go ahead and hopefully one-shot him, assuming we can hit the shot. And that's kind of the downside of the Minotaur. That was the point I was trying to make yesterday, is it is very dependent on teammates, kind of like it's an infantile type dependence where if the other ships will not spot for it or tank shots for it, it is basically worthless. It either has to completely just continue to hide back there, completely shut down, or if he rolls the dice and hopes that I've moved on with my life, then he will soon discover the limitations of his armor or the lack thereof. So I'm not in any hurry to move. I'm definitely not going to go north, right? I mean, the Grosser Kerr first, the Yamato will both kill me in one salvo. It doesn't matter what I try and do against those ships. They will wreck me very quickly. And even if the Bismarck, even if the Worcester die, look at the score. We're up 400 points. Those two ships, losing them would be about a 180-point swing in the enemy's favor, and in which case it's up to me to not die. So that's primarily what we're trying to do here, is not die. But I do want to make sure that I'm in a position where if we do get rushed or something, that they won't be able to shoot me. So I'm preferring to go south here, and we're also guaranteeing that this Minotaur cannot leave, because the closer we get to him, the more accurate our guns are going to be, and that's just tightening the noose around him even further. So pulling forward here, keeping an eye on the spotting, keeping an eye on that ship there, but we're not likely to have a line of sight to him anytime soon. And here we are spotted right there, and we immediately train the guns on the Minotaur. You see he's nice, steeply angled. I mean, most cruisers would be able to defend themselves adequately there, but he gone nevertheless, because the Minotaur is the most fun ship to shoot at in the game currently. So that kind of seals the deal. They have a minute left to kill 3 ships. Of course, they're never going to have another shot at me for the rest of the game. We guarantee that now. And looks like the Worcester's doing a good job disengaging. So even if those 2 guys that have been sailing around the edge of the map for the whole game managed to sink the Bismarck, unbeknownst to them, that will have no positive impact on their team's win chances. In fact, it's completely irrelevant. They've abandoned the caps the whole game. They've basically conceded the game since the puck dropped. All we had to do was stay alive, and by killing that Minotaur, that was kind of the last threat, because he could have, once again, wrecked us in about the span of 10-15 seconds, and then if that the Worcester behind us happened to get caught in the same fight, he would have gone down very quickly, and then those 2, once again, they could kill the Bismarck at any moment. So they were dependent on killing all the ships, but because we countered the strongest threat to our team, the Minotaur, then we got out of there alive. So that's a look at the line for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We've got lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.